I feel like I kept my youth for a long time, and now it's like slowly starting to leave me. Like my eyesight is going, my hairline, like this widow's peak, hasn't always been, hasn't been as deep of a cut.
Turn into Vegeta.
Dude, it's gonna happen. It's gonna be. Well, I wish, dude. Like his is like straight, like
I
halfway
was
down
like
his forehead. I'll take more, but it's like slowly starting to like lose it
going
there. But
backwards.
whatever. Yeah, I'm glad I'm not a non-camera actor.
Yeah, I know, right? That's the benefit of voice acting, right?
Whew,
Just to
so
hide
much,
behind. Nah.
so much.
You look great, dude. You look good. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Tournament of Power Bridge interview. Today, we've got Alex Mitz, who is best known as the voice of Android 17. He also played Kinsey, one of the minor characters in Episode 2, but I think we probably mostly know him for Android 17. How you doing today, Alex?
Pretty good, pretty good. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm going to continue. I think you've watched at least one or two of the other interview videos. I'm going to continue asking this question until I get a yes to the question for the icebreaker. Pineapple on pizza, yay or nay? What do you think?
No, that's a hard no for me.
I'm gonna have
It's
to.
a hard no. You're gonna interview till you get through the whole cast.
I know.
I'm sure, but no.
Just watch me interview until everyone says no.
You might even have to stage an interview with yourself where you like set up, your camera and then mirror your. I don't know. It's gonna be a while, I think, before you find your yes.
I'm gonna. I'll just dub over you, and I'll lip sync it and be like, "Yes, I love."
Oh man, count that as ADR experience. That's good.
I am Alex Mitz. Yes, I love pineapple on pizza.
Oh boy. And if my wife even caught wind of that, like if she you said it, you did, because she's a pineapple on pizza person. So.
Oh, okay. Well, at least someone around supports.
Someone in the vicinity.
My girlfriend and I both like it, but I was shocked that these first three interviews have all been no's. I thought at least one would be a yes.
It's pretty divisive. It's
surprisingly.
It's almost as powerful as like your political affiliations.
Yeah, right. I wonder if there's a trend, depending on left-leaning, right-leaning, or what you like on
I don't know.
pineapple on pizza. Not that we're exploring that here today. That is not the rabbit hole we're going down today, but
Yeah.
interesting thought. Trying to mix up the questions a little bit. Most of the questions are going to be the same.
Yeah, I'm going to be disappointing because I don't think I have like the encyclopedic knowledge of Tournament of Power Abridged like Reverb had. Like he's like, oh yeah, in this episode, in this scene, I'm like, they've all kind of blurred together, because I've watched it.
That's fair. He's rewatched it a lot, like with his friends and stuff. So I think that's why he knows it so well.
It's cool.
But that's fine. I'm not asking too many. I changed out a couple of them. I made it more about just your experience with the project itself, as opposed to like specific things.
Oh, okay,
in the
cool.
series. So it actually, I've just changed the questions to be that, just to mix up. So I think it might actually work in your favor.
Great. I was afraid I was going to give you a lot of like non-answers. So. Good.
Oh no, you're good. You're good. So let's start off with just how you came across the project and what you thought when you came across it and were looking to audition. What did you think?
When I came across the project, I think I was just scouring Casting Call Club, is where I found it. And I'd auditioned for a couple of like Dragon Ball things before, just because like my background isn't in character voiceover. Like I'm a character, I do character acting like in life. In real life, in non-internet life, because I have a theater background, so like I play characters fairly regularly. But in voiceover world, I got in and I found a pretty good little niche in commercial voiceover world, because one of my agents said like, your voice sounds kind of nerdy, and it's like, that's exactly right. Like I'm the guy who on the commercials like, hey, I'll fix your computer. Get down to the Geek Squad, something like that.
Geek Squad.
Yeah, or like somebody who like really loves their dog, like, hey, so your best friend can live their best life, that kind of stuff. That's my commercial niche. I'm not like built for tough. That's not my jam.
Yeah.
And so, I played around with like a couple of, when I first started getting into voice acting, I found Casting Call Club, and I was like, oh, there's all sorts of cool projects. And I'm a huge Dragon Ball fan, and so like I was like, oh, I'll try and audition for these like fun little projects. And like I found that I do a pretty good Frieza, which was cool. I don't think I got into a project as Frieza, but I think I got really close.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I do a decent Frieza.
Oh, cool.
I showed it to my friend, and he's like, "Wow, that's actually pretty good." Um, there was another one. Oh, I almost got into a. No, I did get into a project as Future Trunks because someone was
Oh.
going to do the BoJack movie.
Yeah, yeah.
They were going to do an abridged version of that, and I don't know if it ever came to light. I don't think it did. Like, I recorded my parts for it, and so then I just kind of kept bopping along, and as my voiceover career grew, I spent less time doing casting call club stuff. But occasionally I'll get the bug, like, I want to go do something fun. Like,
Yeah,
I don't want to
yeah.
go do something on the premise that it's going to pay me, $500, or on the premise that it's going to pay me $1,000 to do something. I want to just go do something cool and fun and not worry about, is this project tied to paying a bill?
Right.
And so I found this, and I can't remember why. I think, like, all the parts were things that were sort of out of my wheelhouse. Like,
Okay.
I don't have that deep Vegeta voice. I have, like, the Brian Drummond original Ocean dub Vegeta thing down pretty well, but not the
Sure.
Chris Sabat. I don't have Piccolo. I just don't have that deep, resonating voice. And so I think Android 17 was open. And I was like, I never thought about it, but I kind of have a Chuck Hubery sort of timbre to my voice. Let's give it a
Yeah.
whirl. And so I gave it a whirl, and I think the rest was history. If I'm not missing any part of that story.
No, that sounds about right to me. As soon as I heard your voice, I think I was pretty certain that I was gonna cast
Cool.
you. It just sounded right on. That is interesting that that you were looking at doing Frieza voices in other places, because I was actually just looking, and Vegito was showcasing his Frieza voice to me recently too, because there's going to be an upcoming Frieza vs. Frost rap battle. So that's interesting. I didn't know we had more people who could do Frieza.
Yeah. I think I got really discouraged because, in Casting Call Club you can hear other auditions and stuff. And, there was one where I auditioned for, like, a Frieza, and then someone else got it, and I listened to their audition. I'm like, that's actually pretty good. Like, I'm the world's second best casting call Frieza. And then same thing with Future Trunks. It's like, I have my Future Trunks thing, and it's, because it's pretty close to my regular voice, just kind of a little grittier, because he's got that, like, and, even Android 17 kind of has that nasally, meh, like I'm sort of poshy. But Future Trunks has this, like, he's kind of in this area of his voice.
Because he's in the future, and his future sucks, and it's like, ugh.
The future's terrible. I hate the future, and the androids, they're terrible. It's kind of my, it's sort of that Future Trunksy thing.
Yeah.
But then I heard other people's Future Trunks. I'm like, shit, that's pretty good. So I just kept like, maybe I won't get into, like, a Dragon Ball project. And then serendipitously, 17 came up. I'm like, I haven't heard a lot of good 17, so I'm gonna give it a whirl.
It's a tough one to do, because like you said, you kind of have to have that certain timbre or quality to your voice. It's not really, it's anytime someone uses close to their talking voice to do a character, it's very hard to impersonate, because unless you're just able to magically match it, your speaking voice has to be pretty dang similar to that person's speaking voice in some way, shape, or form. It's very difficult, and that's why I've always had trouble. Doing, like, Goku, because parts of his voice very much sound like Sean Schemmel's speaking voice. There's a few other characters I can't think of right off the top of my head, but yeah, anytime they just use the speaking voice, it's like, oh, that's very hard to impersonate. You kind of just have to have that quality to your voice to where it's not forced, it's not overly cartoony. It's just kind of your speaking voice, but it comes out in such a way that it sounds like the character, and yours was the only one that fit that bill.
Yeah, it's nice to have those things. I mean, Sean Schemmel's got such a unique sounding voice. It's really hard to replicate it, and luckily for me, I sound enough like Hubie to not have to focus on doing a voice. I can focus on, like, actually, like, delivering the punchlines and actually doing the acting and stuff. My camera keeps going out of focus.
Oh no, you're good. Now, actually, as you've been speaking more candidly, you actually kind of remind me of one of my voice coaches. Anyone ever told you that you kind of sound like Josh Seth?
Josh Seth? No, I'm gonna have to
look up. Do you know who
this.
Joshua Seth is?
Let me see.
He's the voice of I think the character's name is Tai from Digimon.
Oh, rad. Okay.
Digimon.
I never got into Digimon. Like, I was a
Me neither.
Pokemon kid, and I never got into Digimon.
as you can see. Very much
Right.
Pokemon
Right.
person.
No, I know people who like talk like, oh yeah, blah blah blah, Digimon. You remember this in Digimon? I'm like, no, that wasn't not my bag. Sorry.
But the voices that you put on when you're doing the commercial stuff, because he was training us to do the commercial stuff, like almost sound exactly like Josh Seth's. Pretty interesting.
I'm gonna check that out.
Yeah. So who would you say, I know you said it was a little bit of a blur, just kind of the whole series. Now that we've come toward the end, it's almost hard to remember all the details from the beginning.
Yeah.
But as you watched, did you have a favorite character that you enjoyed watching besides your own?
I think I really liked all of Krillin's bits.
Oh, really? That's great.
Yeah, I mean, it was just always like everything that he did was such a bit, you know.
It was.
Every time Krillin was there to like lighten the mood, and nothing he ever did was terribly like plot driving, which I really kind of enjoyed. So every time that Krillin came on, it never felt like anything other than I'm supposed to have a good time. You know, it was like other stuff. It's like, all right, let's pay attention to the story, and then let's see how we can, work plot and humor at the same time. With Krillin, it was just all nonsense and shenanigans, and that was a lot of fun.
It's just because he got eliminated so dang early, you know?
Yeah. It's probably my favorite. My favorite set was probably Krillin.
Yeah, I enjoyed Krillin too. He did a great job. I'm trying to think. What was... I think one of my favorite lines, at least that I picture, or maybe two lines that I picture with him that I liked was, and this line was added in. It wasn't in the original script, but I had written a lot of these scripts a long time ago, before the project even started, so I kind of had to add on as I went. I think the one I added in where the Hakai energy blast is coming at the stands, and then I just loved his delivery on "Sheesh, almost peed my pants."
Oh yeah, I remember that one. That was a good one.
And the one where he gets mad at Goku for stealing the Destructo disc, but then he's like, you know what? At this point, it happened so many times. At this point, I'm just flattered, you know. And
Yeah.
He delivered.
No,
it
all of that
perfectly.
stuff. It's so good. Like, and he's just got this defeated, like he's got that defeated delivery down, where it's just like, oh man, like, aw shucks. Like he's kind of got he's like, sort of akin to Droopy Dog in that sense, where it's like, oh well, shit.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
He kind of smiles through it, but he also kind of is down on himself at the same time. Like, he's used to smiling through it, because it just always happens to him. If you can remember, I mean, you've had plenty of recording sessions, but were there any memorable moments recording a line or just getting in the booth when you're voicing 17 that stick out to you? I just love watching those, those behind the voice actor like video clips, and I always try and picture my voice actors in the booth, and I always wonder like what goes on behind the scenes. So I'm just curious if there were any moments that you can think of while you're recording for 17 that stick out.
I'm trying to think of things that like I think in the last episode is when it's weird. Like I feel like I sort of came into it in the last episode. Like I started feeling really comfortable. Like in the beginning, it was a little like trying to figure out, wrapping my head around 17 in this sort of sense of parody, and kind of keeping true to the character while also injecting humor into this, but not in sort of a slapsticky way, but like in a serious way.
Right.
So I think like towards the end, I kind of got to be a little more bitchy with 17. So those last few episodes really stood out to me, because it's like, his final wish was for, oh god, I can't remember what the bait was, but the switch was, nah, I'm just kidding, let's bring all the universes back, type of thing. And
he said he really just wanted some delicious Trick
cereal. That's it. Yeah. So that was the one. It's like, I just really want some delicious Trick cereal. Nah, I'm just kidding. Let's bring all the universes back. And so I feel like that stuck out to me, where it's like, okay, like I can sort of feel this out, because every time I was in the booth, it was always like, do as many takes as I can to hit whatever possible contextual things that we would want to explore.
Right.
And like towards the end, it started to feel more natural just in the first like take or two. So that's what stuck out to me, is starting to get more acquainted with this version of 17 by the end.
Yeah. I could agree with that. I'd almost even say, I know you said the last few episodes, but you were specifically citing the finale. I feel like 17 both in the tournament and in the abridged series, really comes into his own towards the end once most people have gotten eliminated, and he kind of like ideologically, trying to say that word, ideologically kind of comes into conflict with Jiren when they're talking about the wishes, and because they were having that big long conversation, that gave him a chance to like show who he truly was as a character, both in seriousness and comedic form, and I remember just loving those lines so much, and I remember just being so excited to hear how you would sound recording those lines, and I just loved the way you delivered those lines. It was like just the right amount of sassiness or bitchiness, as you put it, for 17.
Yeah.
And I think that's what made, I mean, you saw, I think in the last two interviews, we all thought 17 was one of our favorite characters. I think that's why, at least for me, that's why I just loved how sassy he became in the last few episodes, and I think that's, you know, partly from the way that I wrote him, but it wouldn't be complete without you knocking it out of the park. So
I mean, yeah, the whole thing, the whole series is, you know, such a collaborative endeavor. You know, it's such a big ensemble cast. You know, you pick the right people, I think, for those parts.
Related on that note, what was your favorite episode in the series then? Was it the finale, or was there another one that you liked? I know they kind of blurred together, but
I think I kind of went through and did a little scrub of each one before this, just to try and be as on it as I can. I think I remember episode 4 being my favorite. That's the one where like Goku slides up the beam and just like totally wrecks Kale, like in like UI form. Like I think that's probably my favorite one. Like it's definitely got the most like fun and games. Yeah, it's got the most fun and games in it. You know, like the first few are plot. You know, there's a couple of things here and there, but that one's just got like, let's play, and it's a blast. I think. No pun intended.
Yeah, and it was just cool to see. Everyone always got hyped to see the fused Kale Caulifla lines.
Yeah,
very hyped.
Which were really good. Like I didn't expect them to be as tight as they were. Like not knocking the voice actresses or actors that played them, but it's like, you know, when you can deliver performances like that, you know, even veteran voice actors, you're still like, nice. Good job, but that's incredible.
And while they were doing it remotely, they didn't have the benefit of standing in the same booth and delivering it at the same time, which I hope I get to interview both of them. They're definitely on my list of top people I want to hear from, because I don't know if I'm going to be able to interview everyone in the cast.
Yeah,
there's a lot of people.
Yeah, for sure, but they're worthy candidates. They both did an amazing job.
And what they did will go more in depth. It was a combination of them listening to each other and trying to give a similar delivery. There was also a lot of audio editing on my end of like getting rid of little tiny spaces in between their syllables to make them match up. It was a combination on both efforts, but I mean, if they had I still wouldn't have been able to do it if they had just kind of gone off on their own and said it however they wanted to. No amount of audio editing would have saved that, you know? So
no,
very
I mean,
talented.
people. Yeah, and I mean, studios spend, you know, lots of money on really good software to tighten those things up, like, just perfectly. You know, I do a fair amount of, like, ADR myself for studios, and, you know, if you don't get it close to perfect, you know, they'll make you do it again. As many times as they need you to. And, like, even then, like, as close to perfect as possible, they'll use that, like, $1,000 piece of software to, like, stretch you one way or the other to fit the exact thing. So like, but even then, like, they spend buku bucks on that software, and it only does a little bit of the lifting. Like 99% of the lifting is on the actor. So
for sure,
you know, it's tough. It's a tough thing to do.
Now, actually, I had come up with a brand new question for you, but you may have already answered it. I'm still gonna ask it in case you have other thoughts.
Okay.
But I thought this would be a cool question to start asking people. If you could have recorded or been cast for any other character in Tournament of Power, this can be minor or major characters, who would you have wanted to try out?
Well, I would have probably wanted to try out for Frieza, just because I do a decent Frieza in my estimation. It's probably terrible, but in my brain, I feel like it's pretty good. So that would have been a lot of fun. I can't think of anyone else who I would want to have tried out for. You know, because we were talking about it earlier, and it's like I have that really sort of high-sitting voice, so it doesn't really lend itself to big, you know, tough anime dudes. Like, I'm really good at, like, young anime protagonist, like, leaves home and it sets out on a journey, and we're gonna go do things together and discover the power of friendship.
Yeah!
You know, that's my corner of the anime world. It's not the, you know, it's not the, oh, I'm the cool, tough. I was gonna say rootin' tootin', but that's not an anime thing. But yeah, that's not my jam. So yeah, 17 was a good fit. Frieza would have been a good fit. Kaba might have been a good fit.
Oh yeah,
because he's young. But I also have this weird like texture to my voice that doesn't like. It's good for like, I don't know, teenage, like not good for like kids, if that makes sense. So like,
yeah.
Young boy is generally not it, but like sort of like coming of age young man might be in that. And so Kaba might work, but yeah, which is weird. I don't smoke or anything. I just have this like sort of like a little bit of rasp, but also at a really high timbre, which is really strange.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that uniqueness really sets you apart though, so
yeah, that's fair.
I think it works out. Yeah, it is interesting just to even think about how any of that stuff even develops in your body, or you know, if it comes for anything, or if it's something you're born with, you know, who's to say? But I find it fascinating.
Yeah, me too.
That's what makes voice acting really cool. All right, so then what about you? Do you watch anime outside of Dragon Ball? Do you have favorite anime or TV shows that you're currently watching?
Let's see. I just wrapped up the not so final season of Attack on Titan. That was really good.
Oh yeah, so
yeah.
good.
Yeah, I wonder how many final seasons there are going to be for Attack on Titan.
Just one more.
God, I hope so. I can't take it anymore.
No, it's so good.
I know the manga's out and like the ending is out there, but I never read the manga, so like I don't want to go spoil it for myself, because I've read a couple chapters of the manga and it's like I like the anime a lot better. Like I know some people are going to hang me for it, but like
I know, I'm the same.
I don't know, the anime is just beautiful and good, and it's really well paced, and not to knock the manga, but it's like dark and I can't tell what's going on sometimes, and it's like no, I like the show a lot. Mm-hmm. Let's see, I haven't been as up on my anime as I should be. And other animes I do like. I really like Sword Art Online.
Okay, I haven't tried that one.
The first iteration, because there's like it's like a 2-part anime where it's like the first half is you know, it's a really well collected, and then they do like the back half of the story and it gets a little weird and like pseudo incestual, and it's like this is okay, this is weird. Whatever. Yeah, let's so I wrapped it up and it's like, okay, I guess I watched that. I like to refer to myself as anime basic, you know, like how people refer to themselves as like, oh, you're basic. It's like I'm anime basic. I really like the basic animes. I like Dragon Ball and Death Note, and you know the really popular ones. There's another one. There's another one in there. I love Sailor Moon. Sailor Moon's a really good, really important to me. Dude, I love Sailor Moon so much. Cowboy Bebop's fun. Another basic.
Oh yeah.
Basic anime. Naruto is not one that I've gotten into. That's not a basic anime that's on my list.
Yeah, you know, I've watched. My roommate back in college made me watch, and also I had a friend who really wanted me to watch at least the first 200 episodes, like the original Naruto.
God.
I did, but I had people to steer me clear of the filler arcs, so it was a little more bearable.
There's a guy out there now who like did a cut. Have you heard of this? Where the guy like it's called the Ocean Cut.
And so I've heard of it, yeah.
It's really interesting. So this guy really wanted his girlfriend to get into Naruto, and so what he did was he loaded all the episodes in like video editor and cut out all the fluff and then just re-rendered it. And so it's pared down from like a zillion episodes to something at least manageable. Mm-hmm. And I haven't checked that out yet. Like I have the link. Please, no one hit me up for the link. Go to his Twitter and get it, because the link changes all the time.
Yeah.
So like my link is probably dead. But yeah, like he did it for his girlfriend, and he was like made an interview. He was like, yeah, I wouldn't do this again. Like this was insane. So yeah, there it is out there if you don't want to watch a trillion episodes of Naruto.
Well, I only watched the first 200 minus filler arcs, and then I started Shippuden, but at that point I was just like all Naruto'd out, and I was like, alright, I think I need a break. So I took a break, and then I never went back. I just wasn't feeling it. And people have they're like, oh, Shippuden's the best part, and I was like, ah. I was like, I know. But
Yeah, if it's the best part, you should have led with something to keep me going. But yeah, like I watched the first like couple of episodes like in its entirety, and it's like I can't slosh through this.
yeah, that the only long form or one of those anime that have a lot of episodes that I trudged through recently because the pandemic was happening. I was like, I gotta watch at least one of those long anime when the pandemic started happening and we were all locked in our homes. And I was like, I'm just gonna choose one. I was like, I'll watch some other small anime, but I want to watch one big one. And for me, it was Hunter x Hunter. And
I've heard that one's really good.
Hunter x Hunter is a great time. I love Hunter x Hunter now. Now I understand the hype.
That's really cool. That's really cool. I got into Demon Slayer a little bit too. Like my wife and I started watching Demon Slayer. We went on like a vacation into the mountains, and we took our dogs and stuff, and it came time to like wind down and go to bed, but it's like we watch TV before we go to bed. It's like, well, what do we want to watch? It's like, I don't know, let's watch Demon Slayer because they had Netflix. And it was like, it's pretty cool. Like it's also I don't know, it's one of those ones where you know how the like anime sometimes is very anime, and so you see things and you hear things and you're like, this is weird. And you just kind of have to look the other way until the next scene comes along. It's like, nobody talks like this.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's a lot of basic anime that I'm really kind of into, and I don't know, I need to get back into it more, and maybe one day get into an anime myself. That'd be a lot of fun. But that's like the crown jewel of voiceover, right? Is everyone wants to get into anime even though it doesn't pay super well.
I know. That's the dream until you hear about the what was it? Jujutsu Kaisen pay?
Yeah, that's
that whole debacle.
It's criminal. It's criminal is what it is.
I know, I saw that and I was like, ooh, maybe I should stick to video editing.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's so weird how it's the crown jewel of voiceover. And I mean, if someone called me up and, because I've gotten sides for anime, like I've been able to audition for anime, which is really cool and very flattering that I'm at least on these rosters. But, one came up where it's like, audition for this role, I can't say too much about it because it's all NDA stuff, but it's like audition for this role, but you have to commit to like this production schedule, and like I had a couple of things coming up, and there would have been like a week at a time, like 2 weeks over the next however many years of production schedule that I would have been like out of town, and it's like I can't. Then it was sad because it's like, oh, my voice would have fit this character, I think.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like I'm not losing a substantial amount of money by not doing this, so and it's not an anime I know, so
sure. Piggyback off of that one because you were mentioning some projects that you were in. One thing I've talked about with some of the other voice actors in the interviews and just with other people in general is I think I had seen your resume posted on Twitter, your voice acting resume and just your overall resume because I checked out your website at some point and I was like, oh man, I was like, this guy's prolific. Like, you've done so many different things. You've got so many different agencies, which is, just phenomenal. I think, I don't know if you caught the part in the Reverb interview where we were shocked that you were in our little fan project because you just had so many, it seemed like you had so many accolades. We were like, wow, we're surprised he came by. We were honored to have you as a part of the project. So kind of piggybacking off of that, obviously there's some NDA stuff with future things, but what sorts of projects have you been a part of that people might know you from?
Sure. There's a video game that was really popular for a minute. Like, I don't know if it's still popular, but it's called Prop Night. And the concept's really interesting where it's like a survival game. Like, so if you've ever played like Left 4 Dead, the whole point is to survive or to like capture the flag without other entities killing you. And so it's like a group of 4 kids, and they have to survive a serial killer, and you can pick to either be the kids or the serial killer, but the caveat is that the kids can turn into random objects and hide in plain sight.
Whoa.
So like, if the killer's walking by, you can turn into like a cardboard box or a soda vending machine or something off the wall, but something that like blends into your surroundings.
Like prop
So
hunt.
hopefully what's that?
Like prop hunt. You've seen prop hunt?
Yeah, prop hunt, prop night. I gotta look up prop hunt because I feel like they might be one and the same. Prop hunt.
Because prop hunt is just like a random like, I think it's like a
Fortnite
Gears mod thing where, oh wait, well it wasn't in Fortnite. There was a thing that people did call, like really popular YouTubers like Markiplier and them, where it was just like one of those generic FPS games, but you could like, it was like hide and seek, and you could
Yes.
you could turn into random objects, but there wasn't any voicing. It was just kind of like a fun little thing that people did.
See, I'm on the Steam page right now, and this is exactly it, but someone turned it into a horror game, and like the characters have voices.
Oh,
And so
cool.
like I think, yeah, and they keep releasing new killers, and like occasionally they'll release new kids. But like the first killer was like this sort of zombie-esque demonish ghost nun, and so she was like wears her habit and like does these like groans and growls and blah blah blah. And then I got tapped to be part of a game, and I had no idea what it was about. I didn't know what I didn't know anything. I just got my lines, and they went, here, where we'll pay you some nominal fee to do these lines. And they weren't even like talking lines. They were, grunt with weapon, swing chainsaw, yell sort of thing. And so I just kind of went ham on it. I was like, okay, this sounds kind of cool, but like I don't have any words, so I'm just gonna go nuts. And like I could sort of tell the context. That's like, all right, this person's wielding a chainsaw, this person's throwing a grenade, this person's attacking, this person's getting damaged, and I'm like, all right, I can do all that stuff.
Yeah.
And so I did it, and I submitted my lines, and I got paid, and I had no idea what was going on. And so then I went and found it somehow. Like I don't even know what I was supposed to look for. Like I think I was, because I was trying to like go find things I'm in if I don't get details. And so I think I was like looking up things like chainsaw game, blah blah blah. And I would check back in on it every so often, and I found Prop Night, and it's like, oh yeah, I'm this full-grown man serial killer in this old dusty gross bunny costume who wields a chainsaw and tries to murder these kids.
Cool.
And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then I went and looked at like the game and the fan base for the game. Like, oh wow, people play this. Like people actually play this game. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I do. I sort of accidentally ended up in Criz Tales, which is on PC and PS4.
Oh, I think I've heard of that.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's a sort of JRPG style game. And there are a lot of like really big voice actors. Big in the sense that voice actors are big. It's starring like Kira Buckland and
Oh yeah.
I think Damon Mills is in the game. And
Oh crap. That's
my
super cool.
friend, yeah, my friend Rhiannon, Australian voice actress, is in the game as well. She's incredible. She's wonderful and super talented. And lots of other folks are in that game. And I think it was mostly cast by Kira, and so she has a really strong connection of actors that she pulls from. And then towards the end, they needed to round out a couple of voices. So like the devs reached out and found me, and they're like, hey, we need voices for like these 3 characters. Can you be these 3 characters in the game? And I went, yeah, sure, just send me the lines and the context and we'll work it out. And I self-directed in my booth and sent it in, and I actually made friends with the sound engineer on that game. His name's
Nice.
Randy Greer, and Randy and I became really good friends because I reached out and went, hey man, you did a really good job on this game, thanks for making me sound good. And we've just been kind of chatting ever since. And
Cool.
yeah, I actually have a plan to drive up to see him in the middle of June, so I'm pretty stoked. So yeah,
Oh,
Criz Tales,
cool.
Prop Night. There's one more that I'm forgetting. Oh, Mobile Legends. I do
Oh, yes.
stuff for the studio in China that does all the Mobile Legends stuff. So I'm in a couple of their games. I'm not in like the big one, Mobile Legends Bang Bang, but I do a lot of their like scratch vocals. So like when they source actors from like CESD or Atlas Agency, like they'll hear my voice and they'll go, oh, okay, this is what we're going for. And so I'm not in the big game, or I'm not in a lot of the animatics or anything, but at least, I have friends who are in those agencies who are like, oh yeah, your scratch vocals are really good. Thanks for those. Like, thanks. I want to be in the game. But I'm in a couple of the games, so it's cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, a couple of NDA stuff coming up that are probably going to be my biggest things that are on the way. I don't think I can talk about them yet.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
they're really cool. I'm excited to finally talk about them because I've been sitting on one. I'm just like, please this needs to come out soon. I don't think it's coming out till like October, so that sucks.
Man.
I know. It's big. Like, it's a big thing. That's why it's not coming out for like, I think I recorded it in February. It's like, I gotta wait 8 months for this, and it's like, no, it's a real thing that people actually have to like sit and develop, so I get it.
Yeah, I'd struggle so much with that. I've never had anything that involves an NDA, so I don't know the struggle yet, but it seems like such a huge struggle.
It's pain. It's painful. There's a yeah, don't it's a catch-22 because you're like, oh, it's gonna be so great whenever it happens.
Yeah.
It's such a bad feeling.
Eventually.
Mm-hmm.
Any social media plugs you want to shout out to the viewers so that they can follow what you're doing?
Yeah, I'm really active on Twitter, probably unhealthily so. So you can find me at I do a lot of like meme and trash posting about the voiceover industry which is stupid, but like that's how I'm secretly gonna break into the industry. Is I'm just gonna be not terribly funny, but make these relatable stupid memes, and then someone's gonna be like, "You kid, I'm gonna make you a star." And then then I'm gonna go delete all those posts because anyway. So Twitter is good. It's at whoisAlexMitz is my my thing, and I'm on YouTube. Except I don't remember my custom YouTube URL. I post some voice acting videos there, like mainly intellectual things about voiceover. Like, I'm not gonna tell you how to be a better voice actor or anything. You should go get a coach for that. But you know, things like why you need to have like grit and resolve in voiceover, things like inbox etiquette as a voice actor.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, these generally apply to most professional things in life, but niching down to the voiceover industry because I have experience with those things. And I also do a lot of my instructional design videos there as well. I kind of share both niches, so I always am like afraid of like, oh no, my instructional design friends are gonna hate these voice acting videos, or my voice acting friends are gonna be like, why does he keep posting about instructional design? I don't want to watch that. But I don't think anyone cares. So not enough people watch it for me to stop doing either. So yeah, well, Twitter and YouTube are my places.
Yeah, well, hopefully we get some more people. I'll be sure to link them down in the description. So definitely go make sure to check out Alex Mitz's Twitter, his YouTube. I'll put him down in the description so you can check him out and see what he's up to. But other than that, I think that just about does it for today. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule. I know you got a lot going on. Thanks for taking the time to do an interview. It was awesome, man.
Yeah, man, it was fun. Thanks.
Yeah, and we'll see you guys in the next interview video. Bye, everyone. Just cutting while you were
yeah
drinking your Sonics.